Good evening, everyone. We'll go ahead and call our meeting to order. It's time to do that. I'd like to ask our City Attorney, Kim Ritchie, if he'll lead us in prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for today. We thank you, God, that each day is another opportunity from you to follow you. Lord, we praise you for your goodness, your greatness. Everything that you've told us is true. Your word is perfect. Father, we pray for wisdom tonight as we make decisions for the city. Father, I pray that your spirit would have freedom here in each of us and among us to do your work. It's in Christ's name I pray. Amen. Amen. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have roll call, please.
John Ketcher.
Here.
Troy Shropshire.
Here.
Dennis Nance.
Here.
Steve Smith.
Here.
Randy Chitwood.
Here.
Brianna Brakefield.
Here.
Jimmy Trammell.
Here.
Yolanda Thompson.
Here.
Thank you. Petitions from the audience, item 2. Would like to recognize Ms. Nina Roberts.
Thank you. Larry, first I want to thank you for listening to me and about one of my passions. And first, I want to make it perfectly clear that I am not campaigning against Mike Kennedy or his company at all. I am asking that you, at least for the next 2 weeks, table signing a contract for citywide mosquito spraying. And this is why. Mayor had told me that my letter would be in y'all's staff packet, and I didn't see it online, so you've got double duty here. And I made up my own little packet and gave it to y'all, and I know y'all haven't had a chance to read it, but as you know, we humans are created to be stewards of the earth and all the things that he created in it. And personally, I don't think we're doing a very good job of it. And this is why. And again, I want to make it clear that this is not a campaign against anyone or any company. I will read the letter so everyone will know what it says. And first I'm going to pass around a picture of a monarch that hatched, that's not the right word, in my yard after I requested that mosquito spraying be stopped at my yard. Did you know mosquitoes are pollinators? The city of Pryor Creek hires a pest control company every year to go out to the middle of the night and spray the town with toxic chemicals to eliminate mosquitoes. Not only is this eliminating mosquitoes, but it's also getting rid of and causes reproductive issues in birds and other. A couple of years ago, I kept wondering why I didn't see more birds, butterflies, and bees in my yard like I used to, because I planted all the right plants to attract them. Then I saw someone locally post on Facebook a video of the city hired truck spraying this person's neighborhood at 3 a.m. in the morning, and it dawned on me, the city is the culprit. So the next spring, I called the pest control company and asked that my yard not be sprayed. He agreed. He also told me he sprays at night when the birds and pollinators are asleep, so there shouldn't be a problem. I watched and listened for the truck for weeks and never heard or saw it near my home. And that summer, which was last year, my yard was full of butterflies and bees, and we had more birds and hummingbirds than we'd had since we moved here 5 years previously. Did you know that most cities do not spray their communities for mosquitoes unless a property owner requests, complains, or there is a case of West Nile virus. The following cities in Oklahoma do not spray for mosquitoes: Oklahoma City, Moore, Norman, Yukon, and Edmond. And I'm sure that there are more, but these are the ones that I found. So why is our city spraying poison into the air in Pryor Creek that lands on our plants, pollinators, birds, and in our lungs? The pest control company has assured me again that my yard will not be sprayed this year. And if you're a property owner, you do have a right to do this. Did you know that garlic repels mosquitoes and that Disney theme parks use garlic to keep mosquitoes away? So I'm going out and I'm buying liquid garlic to apply, not spray, around my house foundation and porches, not on my plants and yard, because garlic is toxic to pollinators also, but it will not poison the soil. We just want to target mosquitoes, the bad pollinator. I'm also eliminating standing water in and around my yard. If the city would send the street cleaner out to get rid of standing water around the curbs, that would be awesome. My nephew, Kyle Fonsa, also the city attorney's son-in-law, has a doctorate in biology with his specialty in mosquitoes. And he tells me he is surprised the city of Pryor sprays preventatively, placing humans, insects, and animals at risk. His own town of Moore, Oklahoma, does not spray for mosquitoes, and he is in favor of this. He also states that application versus spraying is much safer for the environment and humans than spraying. So why is the city of Pryor Creek still doing this? I think I trust my nephew, who studies and specializes in mosquitoes, more than city officials and pest control companies. Last June, I contacted Mike Rose with the Mays County OSU Cooperative Extension to get his opinion on the chemical that Mike Kennedy told me he uses, permethrin. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm giving you a copy, or I have given you a copy of the email I sent him with a description of that chemical. I'm also giving you a copy of the emails from Mike Rose and Justin Talley, another OSU Extension agent who Mr. Rose contacted for me and said has more of an overlap with mosquito abatement and is a proponent of chemical spraying. In reading these emails, please be aware that Professional Pest Control never got back with me on clarification if the chemical is ULV or ULB. Council, I recognize we are now at our annual contract renewal with citywide mosquito spraying, but I don't think it would be harmful to table signing the contract until at least the next meeting and discussing it at that time. So you don't have to take mine or Mike's word or anybody else's word for it. Just do your own research and ask your constituents. There are obviously two sides to this issue, and I think we need to focus on what my nephew, Kyle France's concern is: the act of preventatively spraying when cities in Oklahoma and across the nation are breaking away from this and only treating as needed. I'm a big proponent of prevention, but in this case, I believe the prevention that the city is practicing is harmful and has been for many years. And remember, my tax dollars have been paying for this continued practice. I thank you for your time, listening, and allowing me to be informed and involved.
Thank you very much, Nina.
Thank you.
Item 2 on petitions from the audience. Mike Kennedy. Recognize Mr. Kennedy.
I'll hand these out to y'all, so you can kind of follow me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
I miscounted, I apologize.
Here you are.
That's okay. We can share.
There you go.
I'm Mike Kennedy, owner of Professional Pest Control. And again, Nina, I appreciate you saying that, not against me, and I'm not against you. But I'm for my company, and I'm for protecting the public. Professional Pest Control has been providing citywide mosquito fogging for over 30 years for the city of Pryor. I have a petition here from each ward in the city. I'll let you guys look at this. Allison, pass this down. I went around Friday and Saturday, and I approached people that were outside their homes, kind of looked over their areas, explained problems in their areas, but there's signatures from each ward in the city in favor of that. Not one person, and I can say this honestly, not one person said no. I'm not in favor of that. On Bryan Street, there was a young man walking down the street, and I stopped and got out of the truck and asked him, and he said, I need more information. And I showed him a study from Louisiana State University. He just quickly kind of read it. He goes, well, I'd probably need to research a little bit more. And I said, well, you can sign that and put no by your name. He goes, no, I don't want to sign it either way till I learn a little bit more about it. And I left it at that. But nobody, no one that I approached and asked about this, if they were in favor of, the question I asked them was, are you in favor of the city of Pryor providing mosquito fogging at night to control the population of mosquitoes in your area? And I got everything from H, yes, to you betcha, buddy, let me sign it. Our goal has been to provide safe, effective use of EPA and Oklahoma Department of Agriculture registered and approved chemicals and application methods to protect the citizens of Pryor from mosquito bites, transmitting diseases, including the West Nile virus and the Zika virus. And we have never been contacted by the public or by the city of Pryor administration about killing honeybees, birds, or any other animals. We have never had a mass kill show up on the streets or the lawns of anybody in the town of Pryor. In fact, we've received many thanks from Pryor citizens over the years for our efforts in controlling the mosquito population. We apply a chemical called Permex UL 4-4. We applied in accordance with the label directions, and these directions are again approved by the EPA, the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, and recommended for use by the Oklahoma State University Cooperative Extension Service. The active ingredient in Permex UL 4-4 is called permethrin. Permethrin-based chemicals can be purchased at Walmart, Tractor Supply, Lowe's, Home Depot, and a number of home improvement stores, and are widely used and misused by the public around their homes, on their lawns, on their foliage, on their trees, their shrubs. Lots of people use that particular chemical. Permethrin is also the active ingredient in topical pet drops used to kill ticks and fleas on your pet. You apply the drops to the pet's neck on a cat or a dog. It soaks in their system. Tick or flea bites them, draws in that chemical from the blood meal, and it kills them. The human body and the pet's body will break down permethrin. It is not stored in the body. Permethrin is also the active ingredient in scabamite, a topical cream used to control scabies on the human body. The permethrin in the pet drops, Frontline in particular, and I got this information from Pryor Vet, is 9.8% permethrin. The percentage in scabamite used on the human body for scabies is 5% permethrin. And it's used from the head to the toe to cover the whole body to rid the body of scabies. Our Permex 4-4 UL permethrin is 4%, less than these other two products. And the citywide mosquito fogging usually begins at 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. at night. and ends around 5 to 5:30 a.m. At these times, honeybees are not active. They're in the hives. Now, I've got a here we go. This first part. In Oklahoma, up here, read that. Right on top of the first page. In Oklahoma, swarms are most common during late April until June. Often these swarms develop in one day and may be gone the next. On the second page, what time of the day are bees most active? Generally speaking, honeybees' most active time of day is going to be early afternoon, with activity starting somewhere in the morning and stopping a bit before sunset. In warmer months, the amount of time they're out of the hive will be longer than in colder months. I have also, and you have a copy of the study that LSU, Louisiana State University, performed in 2016 on 6 different mosquito chemicals, one of them being Permex 4-4UL, or Permex UL 4-4. LSU Ag Center researchers in the Department of Entomology found mosquito control done properly has minimal effects on the health of honeybees. Second page, I've highlighted, I'm reading what I've highlighted. Mosquito control products use extremely small doses that target mosquitoes, and the chemicals break down within hours. Mosquitoes are 100 times more susceptible to these pesticides than bees are. These pesticide concentrations used out in the field are not high enough to kill bees. And at the bottom, I'm happy, this is Healy, one of the scientists, I'm happy that we're not killing bees with mosquito control. The exciting part was having people with both interests that were there every step of the way, and they mean people that were beekeepers. They got pest control people involved in this study, they got beekeepers involved in this study, and the entomologist from Louisiana State University. My next page is a guide to the 12 most important Oklahoma mosquitoes of concern for pest control specialists. And I read on Nina's Facebook page that she quoted there were 5,500 species of mosquitoes out there. There probably are worldwide, but Oklahoma has 150. This tells about the 12 most that control or that carry disease. And you can see that I've highlighted the type of mosquitoes on each page, but I want to read some of the diseases that they carry. And I'm having a little trouble pronouncing some of these. I don't have a degree in entomology. Yellow fever, dengue, Zika virus, chikungunya, West Nile virus, Eastern equine encephalitis, Japanese encephalitis, and dog heartworm. Another type that we have. It's a vector of dog heartworm and Eastern equine encephalitis. Another type is a vector of lacrosse virus and suspected to carry West Nile virus. Another type, vector of West Nile virus and dog heartworm, malaria, dog heartworm. The list just goes on and on with diseases that these mosquitoes that carry and transmit. And that was our goal, is to stop that from happening. Nina also said something about the city of Moore, Oklahoma, not spraying for mosquitoes in Oklahoma, and also Oklahoma City on her Facebook page. I researched a little bit about Oklahoma City, mosquito-borne diseases. On the second page of that, it says, tips for fighting mosquitoes. And this is put out by the city of Oklahoma City, the health department. And this is the tips that they give homeowners in their area. A lot of this has to do with rain in barrels, rain in tires, dump your buckets of water around the house, but also they say use mosquito dunks and other approved mosquito control products on your property. You can find them at home improvement stores. The State Agriculture, Food, Forestry Department maintains a list of approved products you can find here on the Oklahoma State University website. The last page I've put in your grouping is a list that the city of Oklahoma City puts out to their residents And this was prepared by the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food and Forestry. And you'll notice on the second page, I have highlighted one chemical they list for use around your home. Permex, UL 4-4, the same chemical I'm using, same percentage. Now, I'm a little confused by her terminology about application versus spraying. The act of applying a pesticide is application, whether it's spraying, granular, bait, that sort of thing. So application versus basically is spraying. When we spray with our fogger, we're applying pesticides. When we spread a granular or a mosquito dunk in a stagnant area of Pryor that's holding water, that's application. So we have chosen for the last 35 years to be proactive instead of reactive in our mosquito control. And again, we've never received any complaints. We've never had any health issues from anybody. I've mosquito sprayed for many mayors in this town, and each one of them, including Lucy Bell Schultz, who was a good friend, but she once said to me that that was the greatest thing Pryor ever did was have us start using a mosquito fogger. In the past, and I say we have been doing this for 30, 35 years, in the past we would basically treat the stagnant water. Out at the out at the ball fields, there's a big ditch there on First Street, right before you get to the softball complex. We were treating that stagnant water. But with the rain we have, it was hard. It was getting very difficult to keep chemical in that water because the first time it rained and water would flow, it'd take that chemical out of there. Thousands of dollars worth of mosquito dunks and granulars that we would put in that water. Seemed to be effective, but I took it upon myself doing a little bit more research back in 2003, and I spent $20,000 and purchased a very adequate fogging machine and the chemical. And we've had a lot more luck with that. Every year we've done it under Mayor Trammell's, former Mayor Trammell's employment. We never had a problem. This is our second or third year for Mayor Lee's to do this mosquito problem, and this mosquito treatment, and we've never had anybody until recently come up with concerns. But again, we've never had any abundance of birds, hummingbirds. I live out of Stonegate Addition, and I take it upon myself at my cost to treat that addition. We have 2 hummingbird feeders on the back porch, and we always have hummingbirds. There's 4 or 5 of them at a time fighting over that feeder. So I don't see any effect that what I've done out at Stonegate Addition has ever caused any decrease in birds. I have 1 tree in my yard, and it's constantly full of sparrows. In fact, my shutters show the nesting right now. They love it. And I have done our area for over a week now, and we still have plenty of birds. I thank you for your time, and I just hope that you consider continuing on with this very effective pest control treatment for the city.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
That concludes the petitions of the audience portion of our agenda. Item 3, department head reports. Building inspector. I'd invite Mr. Kenny Young to come to the microphone.
Good evening. Because of the weather and stuff, we've had only a couple of new homes started, but looking forward this month and next month to really have a bunch started and stuff. Does anybody have any questions for me? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Kenny. Emergency management. Recognize Mr. Johnny Jansen.
This last week or two, we've been working on FEMA audits, which is just great. But the good news is we come up with about, I think it was 38 or 39,000 that FEMA still owes the city for some past projects. So we will be submitting the paperwork on it probably this week sometime to get that retrieved. Anybody have any questions for me?
Now, tonight we've got stormwater drainage on the north part of town. Where we at, did we ever receive the funding from FEMA for the Park Branch drainage? Was that study ever completed?
Yes, study's been complete, everything has been submitted, so at this point, what we need to do is come up with a project, that the city wants to go forward with, and then we submit that in for a separate grant, is how that works.
That'd be regarding Park Branch.
Yes.
Yes.
Right, that's my.
Yeah, the study's been complete and is done.
You're talking about with Miche?
Yes, I'm talking about, we received that grant. So
Yes.
if we want to go, that was another area that was brought many years ago for flooding, and
Yes.
so possibly one of these days, we probably just need to create a work order or something to same principles that we use for them to do the study, just like this one is, and get everything going, because we got some issues on both sides.
Once we get, the city
Highway and
comes,
railroad.
yeah, once the city comes up with a project they want to apply for, then you just get with me, I'll submit it, and we'll go from there.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Johnny. Fire Department. Recognize Mr. James Balmer.
Not a lot going on, but training. We have got about 8 of our new ones, or youngest ones. We've got them in some confined space training, got it completed, Swiftwater 1, Swiftwater 2. Supposed to have a trench, but it don't look like the weather's gonna cooperate for June 12th, so we're trying to get that converted over to another ropes course for them, but of course, got to put some of that stuff or look at it on the dam incident. Y'all know, but so we had guys that actually worked for us down there, so we're just trying to push as much training. Since we don't have Oklahoma, we're trying to lock up all the training we can, especially with VOTEC that helps us do the budgets on it. But other than that, calls running about the same, and like I said, we'll just keep training and waiting.
Didn't have an abundance of rescue calls over the weekend, over this Memorial Day.
No, had some crazy shootings, so. Yeah, luckily that wasn't us, but nobody here, but.
Not too many grass fires, is there?
No, I don't know if we can get to them and put them out. I got any questions? Nope.
Thank you very much. Golf course. No report. Library. No report tonight. Parks and Cemetery. No report tonight. Thank you. Police Department. Recognize Chief Nichols.
I don't have anything tonight, Mayor, unless anyone has any questions.
Ready? Thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you.
Recreation Center, Jessica Long.
I don't really have anything either. We're busy and we've extended our summer pool hours, so that started this week. So we had kids in the pool starting about noon. We've got 3 guards on shift for all of that. And then our new summer activities will kick off next week. So we've extended our Silver Splash, and we've got pickleball. We're gonna try it in the evening, see if it works. You're welcome to join us if you want to. And so we're gonna do that on Wednesday nights, and then we're gonna do a kids fitness class a couple days a week. So I just got back today, so I don't have numbers for May yet, but people are still signing up every day, so it's good.
Very good.
Any questions?
You got my money.
Do I?
Yeah.
Did you sign up?
Yes.
Awesome. Where you been? For the rec? I'll see you tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you, Jessica.
I'll be in Oklahoma City.
Street Department? No report on Street Department. We'll move to item 4, Mayor's Report. A, discussion and possible action regarding beginning Salt Branch Creek cleanup process with Phase 1 estimated cost of $60,337 and Phase 2 estimated cost of $52,535 per the recommendation of our floodplain administrator and our floodplain board. This action requires competitive bidding. The path for funding is considered to be CARES Act funds. Is there a motion?
I'll make that. I'll second.
Motion Thompson, second Brickfield. Okay, we have discussion tonight, and we also have items in our packet that I trust you have viewed. We have our floodplain manager, Mr. Bill Smith. I'd invite him to come to the microphone. Welcome tonight, Bill.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Over the past 6 months or so, I've been doing a detailed study on Salt Branch. And when I consider Salt Branch, it's basically from Pryor Creek all the way up to the headwaters. It's about 9.7 square miles of contributing drainage area, focusing more on the Highway 69 bridge and upstream. And you've got kind of a little short version of what I did for the floodplain board the other day. There's several pieces to this. One part is looking at some regional stormwater detention facilities. And I say regional because they're not specific to any specific development project. They are applicable to the watershed. And so those two, one on the north side, one on the south side, help to reduce the flows downstream by, as that water comes in, it's diverted into the detention facilities on the north and south side of Salt Branch, and then slowly released over a longer period of time coming downstream. That's the good news. The difficult part is there are other drainage areas downstream of the location of these that are on city property that regenerate the flows that we are reducing. So the net reduction down at Highway 69 bridge is about 350 cubic feet per second, which is a lot in that regard, but it doesn't change the floodplain elevation, the base flood elevation, which is the 100-year elevation. And so when I looked at the model that I received from FEMA, if you look towards the back of your packet, you can see,
Those are the items
oh, I don't,
like this.
yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, the items that are in blue there.
Are they in your packet?
Yes.
We don't have them in this one. Should be toward the back.
I don't think they got put in that, in the short packet.
This thing?
I don't think, no, I don't think they're in the packet.
Anyway, the backwater model that we received from FEMA,
Both of them.
here's your color copy.
Take both of, here you go.
I got that. They should, it's a huge here.
The backwater model on your left side is Pryor Creek. This first vertical line is Maple. And then the next set of vertical lines is Highway 69 and the railroad bridge. And if you look at the lines, you've got the 500-year, the 100-year, the 50, and the 10, which the 10 is the top of the blue. But if you look at the difference in the lines, it shows that there's a lot of head loss between the upstream side of Highway 69 and the downstream side of the railroad bridge. But this slope upstream of Maple just always bothered me. So we did a field study, and the second page shows that it really wasn't as dramatic as the original modeling was done, so I remodeled it. But the issue you get into is still on the downstream side and the upstream side of the railroad bridge and Highway 69, you still have about a 4 to 5 foot difference, which means that the bridges are a restriction. I mean, I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but I'm telling you what I have found doing independent modeling. So one of the things, by putting the regional detention facilities in, we have reduced the flow down, and we've dropped the 100-year about 0.3 of a foot as a result of those, implementation of those. The phase 1 and phase 2 that you're considering tonight is literally cleaning the channels upstream, downstream, and upstream to go back to the water surface elevations that are in the models. when we model, we don't consider all the debris and the sediment buildup because FEMA expects the communities that are a part of the NFIP to maintain their channels. Part of the problem is we don't own all the land. But it's public waters, and that's why I, as the floodplain administrator, oversee development that might affect it, but I don't have the right, nor does the city have the right to go in on private property and clean the channels. So we got a two-part process here. One, we need to clean it out so that it matches what the models are and what FEMA shows as our floodplain. But two, we've also got to get permission to do that.
Permission or get easements?
Easements or permission or whatever. I had the same, I was floodplain administrator in Kiefer, and I had this exact same problem. We had floodplain that was literally flooding properties because the homeowners or the property owners weren't keeping their channels clean. And to try and go in and as a community, as the city, and clean out on private property, I got a lot of pushback in Kiefer. They wouldn't do that. That's a different story, but it's the same principle that you have. It needs to be done from a hydrologic and a hydraulic perspective.
That's the difference in a permanent and a temporary easement, correct?
Correct. Yeah. You could do it with either. You could get a temporary construction easement to go in and do it one time. You could get a permanent drainage easement, and then you would have the right to go in at all times.
Yeah.
What I had suggested in Kiefer was that the city get a permanent drainage easement with the caveat that we would go in and clean it one time, and thereafter the landowner was required to keep it clean. So that's an option. So those are two of the issues. At the
So,
floodplain board.
if I could interrupt just a second. So, what we are considering tonight, phase one, would be on the west side, correct me if I'm wrong. would be
Downstream side.
On the downstream side, on the west side of Highway 69. Phase two would be on the east side of Highway 69. So what is on the east side of Highway 69 is in city limits. Some of what is on the west side of Highway 69 is in the county, is not in city limits. So to be able to clean those channels, to be able to mitigate the flow, allow it to flow the way the FEMA model is designed, then getting those easements and getting permissions is something that we have already been working on. We have already been approaching that with Dr. Nunley, with Chris Kernut, with the Larimore family, and so we have done some of those preliminary things. That's for the council's and the citizens' benefit to understand that. So,
How are we looking on that so far?
yeah, everybody is very favorable.
What about the Crawfords?
Pardon me?
What about the Crawfords? They have an area, Moors and the bridge. They own a big area. Right
Mr. Powell, have you talked to Crawfords?
We have not, there are no planned improvements in that area.
Okay, no planned improvement on the Crawford property. Yeah,
So that we don't have to, we've got an easement in there now. It's 25-foot easement, so we don't have to go in there.
There were no identified obstructions to flow in that portion of the creek.
So I want to make sure I understand that. So there's an easement. As we go in there, is that a permanent easement or a temporary easement?
I have not seen this easement, I'd have to look at it. If it's in the county, typically, the city doesn't have an easement.
Right.
Because things out of the county.
So we'd have to maintain, somebody has to figure out a way to maintain that, that's my whole point. You've got to figure out some way. The whole part about but stormwater study is, you got to keep it clean.
That is
You got to keep it clean, and we know where the obstruction is. Everybody agrees that the obstruction is in the railroad, you know, and we got to work with the railroad, but you got to start somewhere, and so, yeah.
the railroad and Department of Transportation
Oh, yeah.
and DOT.
Have they talked like they were gonna work with us on it?
I would defer to Mr. Powell on that.
We have not had direct conversations with them at this location. We have had direct conversations with both entities at Park Branch regarding the participation. Basically, in both instances, they indicated when they're the only remaining problem, they will take care of their issue. That's the railroad's position. ODOT's position is that it has to be programmed into their funding program, and bridge replacements at Salt Branch are something that are years in the making. So we're working towards making those improvements, but at the present time, we don't have any commitment of funding or even a program from ODOT at either side.
So the work toward securing easements is work that will ensue,
Yes.
depending on how council responds to these recommendations. Go right ahead, sir.
So there also were other mini regional stormwater detention facilities that I looked at. One, I looked down at Dr. Nunley's property. We talked about that a little bit. East of Elliott there, down in the floodplain area. And then another one just upstream of Highway 69, just where Salt Branch goes underneath the bridge. And so there are benefits, again, and I won't say there's an infinite number of locations, but there are other locations where these maybe perhaps smaller regional detention facilities could be placed. Right now, we've got 4 locations, 2 large ones and then 2 smaller ones that are potential to help reduce the base flood elevation. My next task will be 2-part. One will be to hydraulically redesign the crossings at both the railroad and ODOT to give them our recommendation as to what ought to be done to alleviate this differential. That's number one. Number two, there's also the possibility of, even though we may not reduce the base flood elevation, enhancing the channel from Highway 69 upstream to these regional detention facilities and taking the excavated material, putting it in the overbank. We carry the same flow, but we could constrict it down and literally remove land from the special flood hazard area so that both the overbank areas can be enhanced and literally taken out of the floodplain.
But that would require us getting property from Mr. Nunley and Mr. Kernut, part of their area right there, and making sure that part of their existing land would have to go into the floodplain, have to go into an area for the pool. They'd have to be able to give us that easement to do that. Take part of the
And again, it could be an easement,
I just wanna make
not purchase and fee.
I understand that, I understand, but I wanna make sure.
So it's basically gonna be like a levy?
Yeah.
No, it's not a levy, it's just taking, if you look at the overbank here, it comes in, it goes down, and then goes into the channel. That low area that's at the top of the bank, but still in the floodplain, if we widen the bottom, put in 4-to-1 side slopes or whatever, so they could be maintained, and take that material that we excavate and put it in that low area adjacent to, that's currently in the floodplain, we could literally take it out of the floodplain.
Yeah.
So it's just a trade-off of a narrow channel to a wider channel and a wider floodplain to a narrower floodplain.
So
Which
what
makes it
phase would that be?
That's not even on the radar right now.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know that there are more things that we are considering.
Okay.
When you look at your package, you've got phase 1, phase 2, you got phase 3, phase 4.
Phase 3 and 4 are the regional detention facilities.
A couple of things about the regional detention facilities on there is what I saw is, and we're just talking, and I don't know if we should be talking about phase 3 and phase 4 right now, Mr. Ritchie, since we're just talking about phase 1 and 2.
So,
You can talk about.
yeah, we can talk about any of those.
It all affects the same thing. Phase 3 and phase 4. You know, a couple of things when I saw phase 3 and phase 4. And you might explain to them about the mileage, how much, where the water's coming from upstream, you know, it's 11 acres, 9 acres, and how much that impacts. But one of the things that concerns me is the 1 and 2's fine, 3 and 4 is about $3 million. It's about $3 million is where that is, okay? Now, we have some funds that possibly could become available in the next month or two from the ACR, about 1.6 million we could possibly use on that if that's what this council so chooses. But that money is there, but that's 3 and 4. Some of the things in here, when you look at it though, what concerns me is a couple of things is that it shows, and I'll just go to page, it said, like, I'm gonna go back to page, and I wanna go to phase 3 and 4 regional. So on
Are
page-
you looking at exhibits?
No, I'm page 4 of this package. It says right here, and I understand why we're doing this thing is, you know, we're looking at a lot of things, but it also includes, we're gonna read it, page 4, it says that, looks to me like that we're developing areas for the hospital, for the proposed hospital. And the hospital has not even been approved by this council yet.
No, that's,
That was an original
That was a-
concept that was.
yeah, that was a concept, it was a discussion, but there's no intention to develop anything for a hospital
Okay, good.
in any of this.
All right, so that's what I want to make sure of. So the page 3, you know, cross sections. My point is, the surveyor points is where we're at right there, and then when you go over and look at his cost on preliminary cost, and, you know, when you look at the preliminary cost, it shows engineering fee, 4,200, resident project representative, 1.5, what's, you know, on page, if you look at, it's $43,585. Engineering fees, 4,200. What is a resident project representative cost? $4,500 on these.
That's a construction observer full-time on the project, we got proper construction tomorrow.
Okay,
That's inspector.
that's an inspector. Okay, if we did that, we'd need somebody also, like a Bill Smith, or somebody yourself, come over to make sure we're taking the right amount of soil out, putting the right amount in, because we all know we do not want to affect anything that you do when you file the clomer, the loamer, and all that other stuff. We want to make sure all that's filed correctly, so, yes.
Yes.
So,
You would get all of that.
huh?
You would get all of that.
For that money, okay, I just wanna make sure that's what that was for, okay? So, I think we're all in agreement that some of this needs to be done. It just comes down to where you're gonna get the funding of the $3 million and the proper easements, you know, all the proper easements.
So, a question that I had the other night, Jimmy, was so, we've got phase 3 and we've got phase 4. There's not a necessity for us to approve phase 3 and phase 4, but doing phase 1 and phase 2 will significantly improve the flow of Salt Branch Creek. And-
It'll take it back to what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it'll significantly improve that. And so, over time, the silt and the garbage that has been there, it's not been able to flow out. Part of that's because of the choke of the railroad and DOT, but also because of, on the west side as well. And so,
I walked all of that, and there are sandbars, big sandbars. There are down trees. There's pools that have filled with sediment. So the channel, literally in parts, doesn't exist anymore. It has just filled up so much. And so that's what phase 1 and 2 is to bring it back to a channel that was modeled.
What about when you look at from, I'm gonna say 4th Street, okay, and from Oklahoma Street, we got a ton of water coming from 4th Street. I didn't see any reflection of how much water was being pulled from those going down Elliott Street. I might have missed it. And does this phase 1 and phase 2, does that impact or reduce the flow of water on Elliott Street?
I'm gonna defer to Mr. Steve here.
And what was that included?
There is.
That included in your math
That
model?
watershed is in my model.
Okay, I didn't see
yes.
it, so I'm just curious. Okay. Can I ask Mr. Powell that question? Does that,
Sure. I don't need that microphone, my voice carries. That's watershed number 4. It is partially developed. 4th and Oklahoma drains to Elliott Street. Phase 4 of the project includes some provisions for improvements to North Elliott Street. If the council down the road should approve that, or we get funding or some other sources for that. Bill's model, evaluated watershed number 4, which is, again, partially developed. A lot of the people that have come to our previous meetings, public hearings, were concerned about the water that was running through that tributary to Salt Branch. Part of phase 4 has a cooperative detention facility in it that would be partially funded by the city as a whole, partially funded by the residential developers or whatever type developers that would occur on the raw property now, to ensure if we can reduce the amount of water that's coming down through the subdivisions that did not account for detention when they were originally built. They were grandfathered in, and so no detention was put in. And so a lot of those communities or those areas are experiencing flood problems as a result of being there before our detention models and our regulations were in service. So there is a provisions in the model that address not only flows on North Elliott Street, but also from the raw land that continues to be north of 5th Street and drains into this watershed. There's no reason for us to go out, jump out there and do something in the way of detention facilities until those properties develop, as long as we are taking care of the water downstream. There's one aspect of this we haven't talked about, which I think is critical to the public, and I'll just take this opportunity to indicate that. Even though Bill has indicated we're not lowering the elevation of the water by doing these first couple of phases, what we're doing is we're changing the way the water gets to those bridges. The time it takes for the water, the peak flow, or the wave that comes through the watershed to get to that point. We're trying to influence that wave. So if you've got the watershed in peak discharge, and then you've got a tributary that comes from the southeast part or from let's call it stormwater detention number 4, or stormwater district number 4, if those hit at the same time, those peaks add together. So what we want to do is we want to offset those peaks based upon the hydrology so that we can lower the watershed. And so what ends up happening is the water can't get out, so it backs up. So if we can divert that, get it there earlier or get it there later, so that it's not at the same time, we impact those upper parts of the watershed. And that's getting into the intricacies of that model, but it is part and parcel of this entire study. It's why we're doing it. It's why we want to have the model, to work the model, and to impact those problems that are upstream.
And that's one of the things how come it's so important to make sure that I think the city needs to have the easements to maintain, to keep it clean, not property owners, because as we know in the past, we've had temporary easements in town. People have built houses over top of the temporary easements. Prime example is over there on 5th Street, 5th and Ora, I think is what it is. They built it over, we had a temporary easement, and then they couldn't do that up. So it's permanent, we need to get a permanent easements. So, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to amend the motion to include that prior to going out for bid, the city procures all required easements and that they are filed with the county before we go out for bid for the project, as we heard. And I don't care if Mr. Smith has a better answer with something like that, but I think he's made it very clear that.
That would be the normal process that we would go through, would be to secure easements before we actually went out to bid for a job. So rather than making that assumption, we can put it in writing and amend the bid, the motion to include that.
I will amend my motion. I'll amend my second.
Motion amended to include prior to bid, secure, permanent, you said permanent easement.
That way the city is responsible for maintaining those drainage areas, not the property owners.
Very good. Eva, did you get that down? Very good. Is there other discussion? Hearing none, call for vote.
Petra?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item B, discussion and possible action regarding removing from the table item E from Mayor's report on May 18, 2021. Before we go that, Mr. Smith, thank you so much for coming tonight.
Mr. Bill, Mr. Bill Smith, thank you for coming, and I would encourage us to use him and his services on the park branch. With his knowledge, he's the one that
Absolutely.
designed Tulsa's that got all the awards and stuff, so.
Good deal.
Very good. All right. Item B, discussion possible action regarding removing from table item E from Mayor's report on May 18, 2021. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Motion Shropshire, second Chitwood. Call for vote.
Oh,
Okay,
Okay.
discussion.
discussion. The CARES Act funding, it's my understanding, we discussed it, can be used at your discretion, basically wherever you want to use it, okay?
This, so,
That's what,
what we're doing is we're having discussion whether or not to remove this from the table.
oh, I'm sorry. Moved from the table, I thought it was on C, I'm sorry, thank you.
You jumped ahead again.
Yeah, I did, thank you, all right.
He's excited.
Call for vote.
Yes.
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 Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item C, discussion and possible action regarding spending the remainder of the CARES Act relief funds towards remedy of the Salt Branch Creek seasonal flooding. Is there a motion?
I'll make it.
Second.
Motion, Brakefield, who seconded? Second, Ketcher. Now, discussion,
you know,
Council Trammell.
one of the things that's, this CARES Act funding, I don't know how much money we got left in there, Mr. Mayor, you might be able to tell us, probably 200,000 or so.
It's around,
Roughly.
around three.
Around
you know,
somewhere.
Around three, yeah.
This CARES Act funding remainder can be used basically at your discretion. That's the way it's set up.
At the council's discretion.
Well, but with, through your guidance to the council's
Yes.
discretion, like it's, now, in another month, the city of Pryor will probably receive about approximately 1.5 or $1.6 million.
So we'll be committed that 1.5, but we'll only receive half of that this year and propose to receive the other half then the following year.
So that's the proposal from the CARES Act funding. I know the county received all of their money today.
Did they?
Okay? And so some of the towns received all their money today. Now, my point of that is this money can be used on certain things. The ACR funding, which I want to call it, okay, can be used for things that's very specific, like drainage, like internet. It can be used on specific things. It can't be used on certain projects, certain time. We have to apply for, and they're very strict on what you use it on and accountability and all. And so they're recommending that you hire somebody to come in and do the administration for it.
Yeah.
My point to saying that is that this money here, we know where it's at. We can put it over in the CARES Act funding for street. We've got $1.5 million. Now, I don't know if we want to do that. Why not leave this money alone right there where it's at now? Put it over in another account to be used. If we want to, don't say the street. If we want to put it in the pool, I don't know what the pool costs. We're going to have the pool coming up here in a minute. You know, temporary repairs on the pool to get us through the pool. We don't want to use it on PYO. We want to use it on that. We know we're looking at about, according to Mr. Smith, about $3 million to phases 3 and 4, and the other probably closer to 6 when it does the other phase. So I just think this money can be used anything. I'd like to see us vote to not put this in this account at this point in time, and then if we want to later on, once we get to $1.5 million, ask to put that in the drainage on the north side of Pryor or the park branch, whichever way we want to. And this money here, I don't know what the pool's going to cost us, but you know, I don't think we'll be able to spend money. The pool, somebody says, is going to cost about $1.5 million to fix. Somebody told me, that's what I heard. So, or a new one, we don't have that kind of money. Let's fix it. Let's use it to repair the pool, possibly, and use $1.5 million to go for the remainder of the north drainage. That's this council's decision and the mayor's decision, I think. So I would like to see us not put this in, at this point in time, in the Salt Branch seasonal flooding, right there, okay?
What's it gonna cost to get the pool going right now?
So we're kind of chasing
Chasing
that,
right.
chasing that a little bit, but it's germane to the conversation.
Yeah.
So perhaps $150,000 to $200,000 to.
Well, right now we look like,
To repair the pool. That is only a rough estimate.
well, right now it looks like we got $112,872 on phase 1 and phase 2 of Salt Branch Creek.
Right.
Okay, will the remainder of the CARES Act money be able to get the pool going?
The remainder, perhaps, if council, if council saw fit to appropriate that money in that way, yes. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's-
Really need to have
there
something.
would be monies there to contribute.
And we know we're gonna
toward
get at 1.5 or 1.6, $1.7 million.
And so what Council Trammell is saying, we have flexibility with the CARES Act funding that we did not have flexibility
That's correct.
with the ACR monies that have been, they have told us that those monies are coming, but we have not seen them yet.
I can tell you right now, they're coming, and that's all I'm gonna say.
But if we could
And I know
get
that-
something going when the pool started going, maybe, give the kids something to do. And the way this reads, we were wanting to put every penny we had left in the CARES Act on this
Correct.
drainage program.
Correct, and this started 2 months ago,
Mhm.
before we had any idea about what the rules were of the ACR funding coming through. And honestly, it makes sense, it makes, Council Trammell's recommendation does make sense that we have flexibility with CARES Act funds that we would not have with the ACR funds that are coming in. And also, the drainage is part of the ACR funds, is guidelines, from what I understand. But those guidelines have not been, they have not been shared with us yet.
Did
Yeah,
Johnny
yeah.
say there was something, maybe we could come up with some sort of FEMA money for
But that's a totally different study.
That would be on Park Branch, on the Park Branch.
Park Branch,
That-
okay.
That does not include the Salt Branch.
Okay.
Here's what I'd like to ask too, is that, here we are at the pool season now, okay? This is just me. I would add, because I don't think our city attorney would allow us to vote on using the money for the pool or anything else, and going out for bids is gonna require council approval. What I would ask for is, all of us as a council, we vote no on this, and we call a special council meeting, and all of us in our due diligence waive the collection of that money. We'll say we're not gonna take the council and vote to spend that money on the pool, and have a special council meeting. That's what I would ask, and I would think that's what that would be required. Am I correct?
You couldn't do it tonight.
I know that, but
Yeah,
48 out, but we'd have 48-hour notice, and even put it out there, and then all of us agree that we're not going to be paid for that special council meeting. But that's your, that's me personally, but otherwise, I don't care what you want to do, but I think it's.
So we're in June. Have they found a pool manager? I mean, I would love to have the pool
I'd like
open,
to,
but
if you wouldn't mind, we have an opportunity to have discussion about the pool on the consent agenda.
Yeah, we do.
And so,
Thank you.
it might be appropriate for us to wait until then for that discussion.
Thank you.
So we're on item C here, and
But if we vote it this way, then it's out for the pool.
Yeah.
Because we're voting here to put all of the money towards the salt.
that's the way the motion is worded, yes.
Could the motion not be changed to just include the funding for the phase 1 and phase 2?
No, this is a different.
well,
item.
we've approved
It could be
phase.
amended,
Yes?
it could be amended with that. You don't have to approve the exact language of the agenda item. The agenda item gives notice to the public that that's what you're talking about, but if the motion was, we'll spend X on it, you can do that.
So what you're saying is we could change item C, the credit fund, towards the remedy of Salt Branch, we could move it for the pool instead?
No, to
No.
include just,
Approve a certain,
No.
a given amount.
right, to
No.
cover the cost of phase 1 and phase 2.
Well, we've already
let-
done that up here.
Yeah, let's
We've already done that at the top.
let's remind council that on item A, we have
We've already done that.
we have committed to
Okay, I see.
Phase 1, Phase 1 and Phase 2.
I would say vote no
Can we
on.
just table
no,
C?
no, just vote no, just vote no, and then bring it up
It would
again.
make sense to vote no on item C because of the flexibility that we would have with funding. C, we're already committing ourselves to fund item A and item B with whatever funds would be appropriate.
Okay.
Other discussion? Everyone understand? Call for vote, please.
No. No. No.
No.
No.
No.
Yes.
Nope.
Thank you very much. Motion does not carry. Item 5, City Attorney's Report. No report that I'm aware of. No report. Item 6, discussion and possible action on consent agenda. Item A, approve minutes of May 18, 2021 council meeting. Item B, approve payroll purchase orders through June 11, 2021. Item C, approve claims for purchase orders through June 1, 2021. Item D, acknowledge receipt of deficient purchase orders. Item E, discussion and possible action regarding surplus of one Coachman travel trailer serial VIN 1 Tango Charlie 2 Bravo 9 69 X-ray 61310547. Purchase price $3,500 from Pryor Creek Fire Department. Item F, discussion possible action regarding not opening Whitaker Park swimming pool for this season as recommended by Park Board on May 24, 2021. Item G, discussion possible action regarding awarding Dwayne Fott the mowing right-of-way contract for fiscal year 2021-2022 in the amount of $28,000 as recommended by Street Committee. No other bids were received. Excuse me. Item H, discussion possible action regarding hiring Rachel Campbell to fill vacant dispatcher position, Pryor Creek Police Department at Range D, Step 1, annual wage $32,534, effective June 7, 2021. This position was left vacant by the resignation of Stephanie Perry. This is the consent agenda. Which items would council like to remove?
H.
Item H,
B, C, E, F, and G.
B, C, E,
F, and G.
F, and G. Excuse me. Then I would entertain the motion to approve item A and item D of consent agenda. That is motion catcher. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Chitwood. Call for vote.
Yes.
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 Motion carries. Item B, approve payroll purchase orders through June 11, 2021. Is there a motion?
Make the motion.
Motion Trammell, second.
And I apologize, I don't know why I pulled that off. I just wouldn't think, just looking, so. that should've-
Were you wanting some recognition?
Yeah, for payroll, for payroll, yeah. Everybody
I'll
knows.
second it.
Who seconded?
I'll second.
Shropshire. Call for vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Item C, approve claims for purchase orders through June 1st, 2021. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Chitwood, or, I'm sorry, motion Shropshire, second Smith. Call for vote.
Yeah, I just want to make a point there that we do, the mayor puts out this report every month, every time. Purchase orders, if anybody wants to see it or something, you know, that's a good report if anybody wants to see it. For anything that's spent, it's a good report for the public and everything else, and we appreciate that report.
You bet.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Other discussion? Call for vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Yes.
Motion carries. Item E, discussion possible action regarding surplus of one Coachman travel trailer, serial number ending in 54, or VIN numbers ending in 547. Purchase price $3,500 from Pryor Creek Fire Department. Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. Discussion.
Where's this, is this thing still out the airport? And does it run, does it?
If you hook it to a truck, it would.
Well, there was a generator on the back of it, you know, there's no generator,
No generator, this is a FEMA trailer from back in Katrina,
yes, that's, and
and it
so,
was originally purchased for Country Fever, so that we'd have a place to take a break and keep her stuff. Of course, now Country Fever supplies us their own building, and so it's been set. Only time it gets used is right that time, and it was canceled last year, so it hadn't moved in 2 years.
it'd make a good deer camp.
Or put it on Purple Wave, and you might get it real cheap, or you might pay a lot for it.
Okay,
Way it
I just
goes-
wanna make,
way it goes on
will
Purple
people
Wave,
be
you
able to
might
go
pay
out,
more
will
money.
people be able to go to the airport and view it, or what?
Yes.
They
Yeah,
will?
we actually pulled it in today and had the decals pulled off.
Okay, so where's it gonna be located?
It's, you go through the gate and it's out there on
It
the
is-
west side of the hangar.
Okay, I just.
At the, it's at the airport.
Okay, thank you.
And
One of
if
the
you want-
things
if you want
this
keys,
is-
just let us know.
Whenever we surplus items, we need to designate how they're to be sold. So do we want to do that by sealed bid or whatever, and when do you want?
We have a recommendation from,
That's what I thought everybody was going to this Purple Wave for now, because it's listed and they do everything. They don't even
So you
charge-
just sell it over the, how do you do it?
Internet, yeah.
You just list it on the internet?
Yeah, people from Wisconsin might bid on it, and if they win the bid, then they've got 30 days to come down and pay it and pick it up.
What's the price we
All
have to
the
pay?
sheriff's departments selling all their stuff. I think emergency management's using it, and
so Counselor,
Purple Wave.
how
I
would
mean,
you?
that old compressor that we did, it brought $6,200.
Yeah,
If we could just amend the motion to approve declaring it surplus and selling it through the Purple Wave bidding
Internet.
process.
What fee do we have to pay?
Do what?
What fee do we have to pay for Purple Wave?
They don't charge city entities anything.
Good, all right.
They do it for free. Now, what they charge individually, I don't know. I think it's a percentage on that, but
Thank you.
they don't charge us.
would it be appropriate, Counselor, to, say, sell via internet?
Sell via internet, be fine.
Amend my motion to sell via internet.
Amend mine.
Motion is amended by Chitwood, amended by Smith, or seconded by Smith. Other discussion? Call for vote?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Item F, discussion possible action, pardon me? I'm sorry. Item F, discussion of possible action regarding not opening the Whitaker Park swimming pool for the season as recommended by Park Board on May 24, 2021. Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion Nance, second Chitwood. Discussion.
I'd like to see us table this until we figure out about the money, see what it's gonna cost. And I think one of our counselors brought up a point, and Frank here, do we have pool people? Do we have lifeguard? Do we have, you might already know that, Mr. Mayor, do we have lifeguards available? Do we have pool manager available? You know, stuff like that. I'd like
How
to see-
long will it take?
Okay, Mr. Powell, would you like, you can speak to this, I can speak to this.
No, go ahead, Mayor. I just wanted to let you know that I was involved in the day that we had the health department come out and take a look at the above water inspection of the pool. So I think I have a handle, at least at this point, of the extent of the cursory examination that was done of the pool above water, and the study that we did below the water level is what needs to be done. Other than that-
Even, so if we went out for bid tomorrow, we would not be able to get the pool open this season.
One, we couldn't go out to bid tomorrow.
True.
I mean,
But if we
no,
did,
I mean,
we would
if
not
we
be able to.
could, we could possibly open it for August. But the gentleman from the health department was deadpan serious when he said that you need to plan on the extent of the rework on the pool, because it's been out of service for 2 years, is that to bring that pool back into service is gonna take 6 weeks to bid it, or to bring the plans to the health department, get them reviewed, They never are approved the first time they come in. I can attest to that. Doesn't matter how simple it is, they're gonna have something that they wanna send back. So you need to plan on about 6 weeks for the plans to be submitted and approved on the pool. Then once you get the plans approved, at that point in time, you can put the project out for bid. So there's, based on the extent of the problem and how long the pool has been out of service, the park, or the recreation board made a.
Park board.
Park board, I'm sorry. They made a recommendation that the pool not be opened this year, and I don't think physically we could do it any quicker. We tried to expedite several things, but time just catches up with us, and after the inspection that was done in the pool area, and there's no internal inspection done of the filter, the sand, the expectation is it's clumped. It's been sitting there empty for 2 years. Anybody has a residential pool, or you've been around pools, I can tell you for a fact that those pressure filters sit there for 2 years without any water being fluidized to bed. You're gonna have some major clumps that's gonna have to be replaced. And it could be even more extensive than that. The under-drain system may have to be replaced. We do have some control issues in the valve issues in the piping in the pipe gallery. That needs to be worked. All of these things take it beyond what health department calls a minor repair work that needs to be done so that you can just do it and open the pool. This puts it into a category that requires a health department approval. And there's where your 6 weeks and your time comes in.
It's just not gonna happen this year.
Do you have any idea what it's gonna cost estimate? And I know you can't give us to get the pool up because funding becomes another issue. You know, we know the pool, we'd like to have a new pool that would probably cost us $3 or $4 million, but funding's not there.
So the estimate that we've been able to determine is somewhere between $150,000 and $200,000 to be able to repair it and bring it up to where it can be used. So another component is that the logistics of management and logistics of lifeguards. That's another component. Another component is also is that if we decide to repair the pool, if we decide to do that, then there are other measures we need to take to load the pool with water all season long. And there's a maintenance component with that as well that would cost dollars. And if we were going to do that, then we would need to budget those dollars over time.
Yeah, but the CARES Act, the CARES Act funding could go towards that if we chose to for next year.
Oh, absolutely.
For next year, in order to open the pool next year and give people a sense of hope that we are going to.
That's what I was wondering.
Give people a sense of hope that we are going to open it next year with the cost. So, yes. Yeah, so I think that's the way to go. So.
What is your thoughts on that? If we did spend the money to repair it, would we be able to open it for next year?
Yes, if there's plenty of time to make the repairs to the pool during construction season into the fall, take the pool into the winter, and begin the process of opening it up in the spring and getting a full season out of it. Yes.
And how many more years do you think we would have with it if we repaired it?
I'm a civil engineer regarding the piping and the physical facilities of it. The repairs we're making to the concrete bottom of the pool are something that they've had to do on an annual basis. It seems like the pool continues to move. I was encouraged by the fact that the sonar testing we did below the pool did not indicate any large voids, small voids almost everywhere, but we had no voids more than a few inches below the concrete of the bottom itself, which indicates to me that the pool is not sliding down the hill. We do have a level problem with the pool, but it is tipping in its location. So the current thinking is if we mechanically, things don't last forever. We've got piping issues, we've got valve problems, we've got piping issues underneath the deck that are gonna have to be dealt with, and those are not easy to get to. Frank can attest to how he has to crawl on his belly to get back up in there. But the pool has life in it. The facilities above the water are in desperate need of repairs. Health department has identified the major culprits with rust and corrosion And the fact that we don't have sufficient lighting in the pool to meet the guidelines that we have now, we think it's well lit, but the foot candles that they require are considerably higher than what they want it lit up like a football field. I don't know any way to describe it. So if you're gonna have night swimming. It just goes on and on and on. We haven't even talked about the pool house, the administration office, the leaking roof, the
Restrooms.
facilities in the
Yeah.
restroom facilities that have to be brought up. So, I mean, by the time you start looking at the full restoration of this pool, in my opinion, you need to be looking at spending money for something that's gonna be there for many years. If you think you're just gonna do it next year and then, you know, that's it for the next 40 years, you'll be back in the same ballpark in 2 or 3 years.
So what you don't do with a structure like this is you don't put a Band-Aid on it and expect for that Band-Aid to be good for the next year.
No.
So we would need to spend money ongoing and budget monies ongoing for an old structure. Would it survive? Probably so.
Yep.
If the citizens wanted to spend money for that and continue to
Swimming pool,
restore it.
I love the pool. I've used it my whole life. You know, it's kind of one of those things. I keep telling people that you don't know what you have till it's gone. But clearly, this pool, this size pool, is a major expense, and it costs a lot of money every year. It's like an old house, but I mean, there's life in the pool if you're committed to it. But it's not the kind of thing we're dropping $200,000 or $300,000 in the pool this year, and then, you know, with the expectation 2 or 3 years you're going to demolish it and put in a smaller, efficient, which is more likely that you see in the communities now. This is a full-size pool.
It's the second largest pool in the state of Oklahoma. Only one's larger than the city of Miami.
So, speaking about the future of the pool, which is what we're doing, we're trying to be good stewards of funding, good stewards of what the citizens own, which is the park pool.
Yep.
So
This season.
we would need to engage in the plan.
Yep.
If we're gonna fix it, then in my opinion, we should also choose to plan on restoring it as having that culture of restoration of the park pool and keep it operational. So the other option would be to demolish the pool, to put another pool in, and start back new. So we should consider these things as we go along. Regarding this motion, for this season, there's no way that we're going to be able to really get it open for this season. But I would like to encourage all of us to take a long look about how we would handle our park pool going forward.
Okay.
Other discussion? Call for vote?
Thompson?
Yes.
Pitcher?
Yes.
Shropshire?
Yes.
Nance?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Chipwood?
Yes.
Brakefield?
Yes.
Trammell?
Yes.
Thank you for that discussion. Item G, discussion and possible action regarding awarding Dwayne Fott the mowing rights-of-way contract for fiscal year 2021-2022 in the amount of $28,000 as recommended by Streets Committee. No other bids were received. Is there a motion?
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion Chitwood, second Brakefield.
How many times is this gonna be mowed? I didn't look that up. How many times, do we know?
As many times as it needs to be mowed.
In the past, the bid said so many times per year. And I didn't see the bid. In the past, we said 5 mowings, 10 mowings, whatever it was.
He's been doing this for several years, and sometimes he does it more than others. Depends on the drought of the season, depends on how much moisture we have, how many times it needs to be mowed.
So this is just up to your discretion.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to mention that I've seen him out there mowing on several occasions.
Oh, I have too.
And he does excellent work.
Yeah.
And he does stay on top of it pretty much.
Okay.
Other discussion? Call for vote?
Yes.
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 Motion carries. Item H, discussion and possible action regarding hiring Rachel Campbell to fill vacant dispatcher position at Pryor Creek Police Department, range D, Step 1, annual wage $32,534, effective June 7, 2021. This position was left vacant by the resignation of Stephanie Perry. Motion?
Motion.
I'll second.
Second.
Excuse me. Motion catcher, second Brakefield. Discussion.
She here?
Yep, right there.
That's what I-
Chief?
There she is.
All right, ready to go to work.
No.
Please come to the microphone, if you don't mind. Welcome. We're glad you're here, and we look forward to your service.
Thank you so much.
Where are you from?
I'm from Bixby. I moved to Pryor in 2019.
Excellent. Welcome here. We're glad you're here. Any other questions, discussion? Thank you very much. Call for vote?
Yes.
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 Motion carries. Welcome aboard. Item 7, committee reports, budget personnel, Brakefield.
Nothing really to report, just, our next budget meeting is June 8th at 5:30.
That will be the meeting that our next fiscal year budget will be considered, and you should have that in your hands by the end of the week. Item B, ordinance insurance, Shropshire.
Yes, we have one Thursday night, 3rd, 5 o'clock.
Need to make sure that you have the alternate there, because I will be at the College World Series.
Okay.
We may at the college watching OU play, and then OSU play the second game, so that's where I'll be.
That was kind of hard for you to say, wasn't it?
Thank you
Yeah.
for that. Thank you for that heads up, Council Trammell.
Yeah.
Item C, street committee, Ms. Smith.
Nothing at this time.
Nothing at this time. Item 8, unforeseeable business. Hearing none. Item 9.
Motion.
Motion by Ketchum to adjourn, and second by Smith. Call for vote?
Yes.
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 Motion carries. We'll call to order Pryor Public Works Authority. And item 2, approved minutes, May 18, 2021 meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Excuse me. Motion catcher, second Brakefield. Call for vote?
Yes.
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 Motion carries. Item 3, unforeseeable business. Do not know of any. Item 4, adjourn by,
Second.
motion by Ketcher and second by, who seconded?
Nance.
Nance.
Nance, he slipped that second.
Got it in there.
Just getting quicker.
Call for vote?
Yes.
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 Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, Mr. Powell, for your